Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're doing a reading for a sign of Aquarius. And keep in mind that this will not resonate for every Aquarius. If you'd like a personal reading, that's going to be the first link in the description down below. Repeat that, first link in the description down below for a personal reading. Also, find a bunch of other things there in the description. You can find my Etsy shop, which has my tarot and my oracle cards on there. A bunch of things there on my Etsy shop in the description down below. Just have to go check that out. Go and go buy something. Really appreciate that. Currently have a sale going on. You can also find my shirt store, my website, different social media platforms I'm on, as well as Patreon. All that's in the description down below. If you'd like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so. I do appreciate donations here. So, Aquarius, let's do a prayer first. So, we have number 4 with the goddess Kali over here. Number 4. Beloved Kali, you create the pathways for spiritual growth that benefit the soul. I honor your unconditional, wild, and loving nature. You provide what is needed to truly heal and outgrow suffering. May your compassionate wisdom and divine protection bless all hearts with the capacity to recognize and act with wisdom. I open myself to receive your guidance and revelation, and I give myself time and patience to integrate, regroup, and adjust my course. I trust in the greater guiding wisdom of your play in my life, for the spiritual benefit of all beings. And this is Jai Wa Kali. Alright, and then we also have number 11 with the goddess Kuan Yin over here. It says, may all beings know deep peace and blessings of beloved priestess of peace, Kuan Yin. May all the heart of conflict be resolved in the Jade Temple. It says, Om Shanti. Alright, Aquarius. So let's see what Spirit's message is for you now that we've done prayers. I've never seen this come up. So we have number 6 with the Manta. And number 5 with Offset. And number 4 with Kinemu. And we have number 3 with Ujit. Alright, so I've actually never seen this one come out before. That's quite interesting. We have 2 cards that I've never seen before. Alright, Aquarius. So we have the goddess Offset. It's just like the goddess of healing and magic and all those good things. And we have Kinemu. Okay? Which is like the god who creates the bodies for all of the creatures, right? The humans, the animals, all that sort of stuff, right? If you see Aries in your readings here, that actually might be this god right here. So let's see, which one is first by looking at the back of the deck? Or book, I mean. Do you have the family of Ra? Oh, which is above that. Tom, which is below. Okay, so here. That's the first one. Number 4. Number 4 must have significance to you, Aquarius, because it's appeared once through your cards here, but 4 and 4. Number 4. Oh yeah, and I'm going to be reading out of the book, and if you don't like that, you can go somewhere else. Number 4. I found it. It says, to build, also to unite. Kinemu is a powerful god of pre-dynastic Egypt, and his worship is centered in the city of Elephantine, and the first cataract of the Nile was near Elephantine, or Abu, where the ancient Egyptians believed that the source of the Nile to lie, and the original form of Kinemu was that of a water god, especially of the Nile River. As the god of the Nile, Kinemu guarded the yearly flood that inundated the delta by keeping the doors that contained it, and drawing back the bolts to let the rushing water sweep through Egypt. His consort, Setet, was also associated with the Nile's flooding and the rising of Sirius. But Kinemu's primary function was in the terrestrial world, where, along with Ptah, he carried out the plans of Thoth for creating the universe. As with Ptah, he is often shown sitting at a potter's wheel. But whereas Ptah created the earth and the heavens, Khnemu fashioned humans, animals, and other living beings to populate the earth. A scene from one relief shows Khnemu at his wheel, having created a child along with the child's ka. Wow, Het hurt, sitting opposite, holds the Ankh to the child to give it life. In the same way, Khnemu created the gods, and he is called the builder of men and the maker of the gods, and the father who was in the beginning. The elaborate headdress he wears includes the crown of the south and the feathers, the two uri, and the solar disk above the characteristic ram's heads. His most ancient symbol, the ram-headed Khnemu, was worshipped as the ram of Mendes. King of the south, in the north, the ram, the virile male, the holy phallus, which stirreth the passion of love. As this cult increased in power, it incorporated Ra, Asur, and Khnemu under the figure of the ram's head, as Khnemu Ra. All the creative power of Ra was given to Khnemu, and he became associated with Alset, the goddess of the south, with Neith, one of her names being Lady of Abu. As with Ptah, Khnemu is powerless to give life to his creations without the female principle embodied in the goddess who holds the Ankh. With his 4 ram's heads facing each of the 4 directions yet centered in the crown, Khnemu expressed the 4 elements necessary for his creation. The ram's horns represent the fire of Aries and the rising of the vital fluids of springtime. The creative energies projected into the world. In this way, the spirit of Khnemu exists in all things, just as the soul of the artist is in the sculpture. The soul of the potter is in the pot. The great primeval creative force that Khnemu unites himself with the 4 great gods, Ra, Shu, Geb, and Asur, together giving the powers of the 4 elements. Ra represents fire, Shu is air, Geb is earth, and Asur is the element of water. It says creative energies, power, and self-expression, successful execution of plans. So there's going to be some plans here that's going to be successful. Alright, it can be something creative, doesn't have to be, but either way. Also feels like you're going to be expressing yourself more and you're going to be rising up into a little more power. These are the beings that you're connecting with, by the way, Aquarius. Okay, I forgot to mention that. So we have Ra as the next one, like the family of Ra, but we have Aset as the goddess. With number 5. The throne. Aset, or Isis, was the greatest and most loved of all Egyptian goddesses. Her celestial symbol is the star Sept, or Sirius, the source of life. Her terrestrial symbol is the throne. The earth power principle, which transmitted to her son Horus, gave him the ruling power over the double land of Egypt in the story of Aset and Ra. We see Aset as a cosmic goddess who wanted to have terrestrial power as a woman and magician. In this story, she creates a snake to bite Ra, who has become old and feeble and dying of the snake's venom. Ra trades his secret name and supreme power over the heaven and earth for Aset's healing transministrations. She absorbs his power and passes it on to Horus, who becomes the young son with the divine right to rule over the earth, a power which he in turn transmits to the pharaohs. The consort of Aset is the Neter, Asur, the first god to die and be resurrected. In the occult tradition, both Aset and Asur walk the earth in human form. Survivors of the catastrophes that destroyed the earlier civilization of Atlantis. In the early history of Egypt, they were described as coming as teachers, bringing the knowledge of agriculture and healing and establishing the first temples of the gods. When their task was completed, they were said to return to the stars from when they came. For Aset was the soul of the Sirius, and Asur dwelt in Orion. Aset was always depicted as Asur's loyal and loving wife, and when he was tricked and murdered by his brother Seth, Aset searched the land for his body and gathered together all the pieces to make the corpse live again. Only one part was missing, the phallus. So Aset created life in the solar principle, Horus, out of herself. It says magical knowledge and protection, great powers of inspiration and creativity, the bringing of life and the honoring of the primal principle in all things. So you're bringing something to life here, Aquarius. This is a success in your plans, right? Maybe something of magic as well, but you're being protected. It feels like you're rising to power and you're creating something. You're bringing something here into your world, alright? And these plans, like you've been planning for this, that is going to be successful. Alright, Aquarius. The family of the earth. With number 3 says the green. Goddess of the North. The snake goddess is one of the oldest and most powerful of all the literature. In ancient Egypt, snakes were regarded with dread by the people, particularly with the cobra, which is deadly and provoked when provoked. But as with the scorpion and the crocodile, it was worshipped from prehistoric times, and the snake symbolism is found everywhere in Egypt. The center of her worship was in the city of Egypt, site of an extremely important temple in prehistoric times. As Egypt was the goddess of the north, so was her twin sister, Nekbut, was the goddess of the south or Upper Egypt. Ancient pharaohs regarded both goddesses with great honor, and to show their rulership over the double land, they gave themselves such titles as Lord of the Shrines of the Vulture and the Uras. The name Uras originated in the Egyptian word arat, meaning she who rears up, and in the form of a cobra, with its spread hood, which is set as the Uras on the brow of the pharaoh as a symbol of his divine authority. The Uras protected the pharaoh and was called the Eye of Ra, spitting fire to avert evil and destroy enemies. It says Egypt ruled over the seventh nome over Lower Egypt, and when the priests of Heliopolis formed the companies of the gods, they included her in the great company. But even in primitive times, Egypt was absorbed into the goddess Aset, becoming Egypt Aset, and she is mentioned helping Aset in the papyrus swamps, when the goddess was hiding her son Horus from the cunning of Seth. It says both Egypt, Aset, and Horus were worshipped in the city of Egypt, and describes the city as being divided into two parts, with the goddess worshipped in one division and the god Horus in the other. Her associations with Horus were always very close, and she accompanied him on his wars against the Pep, consuming enemies with fire. In this card we see Egypt in the form of a woman, wearing the crown of the north, holding the papyrus scepter, the Ouj, in one hand, and in the other, raised above the Egypt Eye of Ra. Here the snake goddesses of the 8 primordials are echoed in the great serpent, who is Egypt herself, winged and bearing the solar disk above her head. Egypt is a personification of primordial serpent power that, once uncoiled from her sleep in the root chakra, can rise with lightning speed up to the channel of the spine, consuming the body and mind with the fire of enlightenment, producing an ecstatic union of human with the divine. It says spiritual awakening, enlightenment, the flow of creative energy, magical protection and power, royal power. See, we keep talking about that. Magical protection and power. You are being heavily protected here. It feels like you're rising up to a lot of power. You're like, there's an awakening happening here, Aquarius, where you're rising up to a lot of power. You are protected. You're enlightening more. You're learning more. And like I said, there's strongly something here that's going to be successful. All right, maybe it's something that you're creating through magic. Maybe it's something that's like a creative project. But either way, your plans here are going to be successful. Alright, now we're going to read this. I've never seen this pop up in a reading before. So let me look at it quickly. I just passed it, I think. No, I didn't. It's right here. It is the hidden place. The underworld of the Egyptians was called the Duat, or Amanta. Contrary to what one might think, this region, where the dead sun god traveled after setting in the west, was not thought to be literally under the earth, but rather away beyond the earth, a land beyond the earth in the heavens. It is described as a great valley, with mountains on either side that form a barrier to the earth and the heavens. Through this valley flows a river, a reflection of both the earthly Nile and the celestial Nile, and on either side of the river live monstrous forms and spirits hostile to whomever come into their territory. The Book of the Dead is a description of going into Amanta, a region of thick darkness and a place of horror for those who lose their way. So it was considered vital for the followers of Ra and Asar to become familiar with the realm of the dead while still living, and to this end this collection of writings was compiled. In later dynasties, this became 2 books. One was called the Book of the... Okay, we're talking about books here. So we have the Book of the Forthcoming by Day, Book of That Which is in the Dua, in which Ra was supreme, The other one was called the Book of Pylons, where the greatest god was also. Both of these books divide the duat into 12 divisions, each relating to an hour of the night when the dead sun god is in the duat. Along with the description of each division, there are given the names of power and deceased must know to pass safely through. These names include the names of the servants who guarded each pylon or doorway, and names of particular guardians and groups of Naturu. Naturu of the hours who must be called before entry in the next division was granted. Once in the boat of Ra, the Sokar boat, the human became associated with the dead sun god and experienced both death and regeneration of the sun itself. After death, the body was transformed into a mummy, which is a symbol of Allsor. Through the hall of judgment, the gross body was refined and into passage through Amanta. The purification of the south was thorough and ruthless. Finally, the black sun of midnight gave way to the eastern horizon of Amanta. The mummy was revivified, and its spirit rose with the newly born sun and transformed into Keper Ra. In symbolic terms, the journey through Amanta is a magical trip that relates not only to the physical death of the body, but also to the occult process of transformation where the self dies to the earthly world and is reborn conscious of its spiritual reality. Microcosm Amanta symbolizes the unconscious or deep mind, where the infinite potential of being is concealed. This is the hidden light which, ascended from the darkness of the duat, is exalted of the creative spirit, freed from the bondage of illusion. Okay. It says, going into the darkness, the current has only the self to rely on, and venture into the unknown. So you're going a bit into the unknown here, Aquarius, but we were talking about some books to get to like familiarize yourself with this underworld here. Alright, which I guess would provide a safe passage. Like, not that anything bad is going to happen. I'm going to repeat that, okay? Nothing bad is going to happen here. This is just something that you go spiritually, right? We're not talking about that of actual deaths or anything. Okay. Take the Book of the Dead. Book of the Coming Forth by Day. Book of that which is in the duat, which in Ra was supreme. Book of the Pylons, where the greatest god was also. Now, what this also reminds me of the Book of the Dead, right? There's like a Santa Morte tarot deck where that's what that's like called as well. Anyways, Aquarius. So let's get some runes, some charms for yourself. Is that some messages for you? That's beings to connect with. This isn't a being, this is just the underworld. But here are the beings to connect with. We have Allset, Canary, and then we have Utrecht over here. So let's get some runes, some charms for yourself. What do we have? We have number 2, Aquarius. And number 2 has significance to you. We have Hathor. We have Aries, which is this being over here. We have Serapis Bay, which is Sun and Master of Light, which are connected with the rose. Rose is important for the heart chakra. Rose is also a symbol of Aphrodite. We have the Sun Beetle, which are connected with the Sun and the Beetle Aquarius. We have the Chinese zodiac sign of the monkey. We have material prosperity coming in Aquarius. Abundance properties. We have prosperity coming in the self as well. And there's changes happening within inside the self. So, Aquarius, that's all I have for you. And like I said, first link in the description down below for a personal reading. Also go to my Etsy shop, going to go buy something. Really appreciate that. If you want to see more content, don't forget to subscribe. Bye guys.